mind, since you're on the VC side, and since you've worked outside of the region, what advice would you give a studio that is looking to come to the region, since they're hearing like lots of interesting news about the region? How would you approach settling into the region in order to maybe like being part of this? How would you position yourself? How would you approach this?
Yeah, I think you always, when you're making a business decision like that, it has to be driven by a business decision. In other words, why would we move this studio from wherever it is now, Poland, Ukraine, Turkey, whatever, right, to Abu Dhabi, to Dubai, to Riyadh, wherever? And I think today, a lot of that is driven by financial incentives, right? No question, because there's so much investment coming out of, for example, Saudi Arabia. A lot of that decision is, okay, if I move to my studio to Riyadh, someone's going to give me a check for millions of dollars. And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Now, do I think that's the case for everyone? It's not that simple, right? Like there's not just bags of money waiting for game studios at the airport.
Yeah.
But I do think the opportunity is there. And being in the middle of a wave is usually a good place for a startup, meaning you're better off being in a place that's hot if you want to have success than a place that's dead.
Yeah.
So there's no question opportunities to raise capital that maybe don't exist in other places. Now, the West has a more fleshed out VC ecosystem, no question. There's more VCs that invest in gaming. There's more VCs that have knowledge about gaming investment, right? You find more deep expertise. But I think there's much less money flowing overall.
Yeah, but I liked something that you mentioned in the beginning, that the government in Canada actually collaborated with the private sector in order to create an ecosystem. I feel that money in the region here is mostly driven by the public sector.
Keep in mind, when Canada privatized their venture industry, though, all of those funds that were created, because they created half a dozen venture funds, of which mine was was the first, basically.
What was it called?
Garage.
Okay, this is the Garage one, okay.
It was Garage Canada, and the idea was we were going to take Canadian startups and plug them into the Valley, because Garage was a very famous venture fund in the Valley. Guy Kawasaki, the art of the start, he was the chief evangelist for the Mac under Steve Jobs. You see, there's a thread of evangelism. I think my destiny was to be a cult leader of some kind.
Yeah.
But the interesting part is that the funds were backed by government dollars. And a lot of the times, maybe this was one of the mistakes Canada made, was the same bureaucrat who was investing when they were in government just created their own fund, and the government handed that same person the money to manage, right? So it's not like the talent really changed. It was just the structure that changed. Now, that was important, though, because it allowed for foreign capital to flow into those funds over time. But it still required an initial push from the government. And
The initial leap, yeah.
And Canada is a resource-rich country, right? Has oil, has a lot of natural resources. And so it can do those things. The UAE is in a very similar position. Saudi Arabia is in a very similar position, right? There's no reason governments shouldn't be priming the pump. And I'm not saying you have to invest $1 billion a year forever. No, you need to put $1 billion in the right hands initially, prime the pump, and then let the private sector take over. But it's that initial push that I think is required, especially when your value as a country in some of these places is you're resource rich, right? Like you asked the talent question, which was a great one. There's not 50 million engineers sitting in the UAE.
That was the purpose of my question.
Right? But India has way more engineers, way more development talent. That's their strength. The UAE strength, like if I pick on Abu Dhabi specifically, Abu Dhabi is cash rich. So your focus should be play to your strengths. More venture funds, more investing, more ecosystem building that is driven by government investment initially, in the hopes that the pump becomes self-sustaining over time. But play to your strengths. Don't try and play someone else's game. We're never going to have as many engineers here as they have in India. Okay, so let's figure out where we're smart. We have resources. A lot of very smart and wealthy business people come here. Let's put management here. Let's put marketing here. Let's put publishing here. And let's use government resources, government dollars to prime those pumps.
Yep.
Dubai is a great hub for events. People love to come to Dubai, love to come vacation there. There should be the Olympics of gaming events, right? We should have PAX, TwitchCon, like every major DreamHack. We should have every major gaming event happen over a 10-week period in Dubai, and it should just be the Olympics of gaming events. Play to your strengths. Dubai is not cash rich. It's not.
Yeah.
So investment maybe doesn't make sense. But subsidizing events, attracting event and hospitality
Infrastructure
talent,
is there.
the infrastructure's there. And so everyone has a part to play. Not everyone is going to have all the pieces, but collectively you end up with a regional ecosystem that I think is very compelling.
Yeah.
You're talking about places that are an hour away from each other. You're an hour flight from Dubai to Riyadh. You're an hour drive from Dubai to Abu Dhabi. Like this is not a big place.
Even there's a big pool of talent like 2 hours away from here.
Where?
I mean, in the region,
For sure. You have Lebanon has great talent. You have Armenia that has great talent.
Jordan, Egypt,
Jordan, Egypt, you're right.
Pakistan, India.
Absolutely.
These countries, they provide great talent. It's like 2 hours away from here. You can have your business hub here, and then hire people from around you.
But you know what? The irony is this region has already done this very successfully in other industries.
Exactly.
Look at construction. Look at hospitality. Look at all these other industries, retail, that have leveraged the great talent in the region that are 2 hours away, like you said, but still built industry here.